Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Boba Boys podcast. I'm Nicholas Wadups, and this is Tony Ty with me.
You already know.
You already know. And we are excited to talk about some interesting developments that have happened this week. And to start
Mm,
off, we have the Madam Web trailer, which posted on YouTube about 2 days ago at the time of recording. And I want to know your thoughts, Tony. What do you think about Madam Web?
it's so boring. It's so dreadfully boring. Wow, my goodness. I have not seen a movie trailer in so long that has made me so unbelievably bored and disappointed in the future of the movie industry. Yeah, I'll say it. It was that bad. Oh, you. Sorry, I didn't mean to. If you liked it, I wouldn't mean to be like, oh wait, this is terrible, and then you're like, actually, I kind of liked it. My bad.
Um,
Go ahead.
no,
There's
I
no judgment zone.
I definitely agree. I think it's really weird for Sony to keep releasing these Marvel movies, or not even Marvel movies, Spider-Man movies, without any direct connection to Spider-Man.
Right.
But Madam Web is a really big character in the Spider-Man kingdom, right?
Hmm.
And it seems like they're trying to do this Spider-Verse thing because the there are characters wearing Spider-Man outfits, and the villain kind of looks like it could be a Spider-Man, but like I know nothing about Madam Web.
Mm.
And I just think it's really interesting how they keep trying to push these Spider-Man villain movies, or like not even necessarily villains, but characters in the
Yeah.
Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man. It
Mm.
feels like
Exactly.
they could be building up for something involving a Spider-Man. I don't know if that would be
Yeah.
like Miles Morales, or they'd bring back Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland or even Tobey Maguire.
Mm.
It just doesn't really seem clear to me what they're trying to do.
It seems so weird to me too, because it's like, well, one, they don't even have a Spider-Man, and number two is like, what they're going to bring in a Spider-Man to after like six movies just so he can beat all of them. You know what I mean? How
Yeah.
lazy is that? I also don't like this idea of like multiversal writing or whatever, or like people like traveling dimensions. It's such like a lazy way of writing, in my personal opinion. It doesn't because then you don't need to like focus on like world building or whatever. You can just create whatever you need to for like one universe, and then it doesn't track with the next movie and whatever. I don't know. It seems just lazy to me, and I don't think it's going to do well. I think it's going to be just a flop.
I
You know what
think
I mean?
I think it is a definitive flop from
Yeah,
Sony Entertainment.
I
Did you
know.
see Morbius last year?
No, I didn't. I didn't actually. I saw the memes. I'm a really bad person, I know, but I do know that I got 8 more billion views in theaters
Yeah.
opening weekend.
Yeah, I did see Morbius, and
Mhm.
that was not their best work, I'll say that.
Yeah.
But
Well, they also haven't had like a lot of really great works other than like Into the Spider-Verse. That was about it.
yeah, I remember like 2 weeks ago, I think I said I was so happy Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man, but I think I meant more in like animation and gaming,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
necessarily like live action, because
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 really dropped the ball with what they set up in the first one, and
Mm.
Spider-Man 3, I know it gets clowned upon quite often because of just how disappointing it was, I'd say, compared to
Mhm.
the first two.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sony is great in animation and gaming, but they need to work on their live action market.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was gonna say the post credit of Morbius, it brings in Michael Keaton's Vulture from Spider-Man: Homecoming,
Mhm.
and he's in the Morbius universe all of a sudden, and
Oh,
he's the one that's like, I think Spider-Man has something to do with this, but it makes no sense how he got there, because it's like they're trying
yeah.
to say it's Doctor Strange's spell or something that sent him there. It just makes no sense to me. So very
Yeah.
disjointed, discombobulated, and I don't.
Mm.
If these rumors that like Andrew Garfield is returning are true, that's great. Like I would love
It's
for him to
great.
have a third movie where he could, really step into the character he sort of developed in the first
Mm.
two Amazing Spider-Man and No Way Home. I think No Way Home was probably his best portrayal of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I think if he were to continue with Spider-Man 3, he could continue what he built from No Way Home,
Mm.
but we just have no clue. And obviously, they're
Ah,
not going to show him in a trailer for a
yeah.
while.
No, it just really annoys me because like what in his third movie they're going to put him up against a villain and it's going to take six different movies of build up in order for us to get that. You know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah.
going to feature a unique movie for each one of his Sinister Six. And it's like how I don't know. Like I said it before, it's so lazy. But I really just wish that Marvel had never introduced this idea of like multiversal travel or whatever because it just gets so like convoluted and it makes the stakes feel not real. It's like the Dragon Ball effect, like every time that somebody dies in Dragon Ball, you're like, whatever, they'll just bring them back using the Dragon Balls anyway. You know what I mean? And now
Hmm.
it's like, well, for writers, it's like, well, there's a problem, but who cares? There's always another multiverse that we can travel to, you know what I mean? Or another place that we can pull villains out of our ass, you know what I mean? But yeah, pretty late.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We'll see. It comes out next year. I don't think I'll see it, but I will
Hmm.
see reviews on it for sure.
Yeah.
Unless there's like
It's
some importance to the overarching Spider-Man like theme, I
yeah.
just don't see any point in seeing. Same with Craven the Hunter. I
Yeah.
think if that released this year, I might have seen it because of the game.
Spider-Man, the
Yeah,
game.
yeah, the game coming out would have made me go see it, but they delayed it for a year with the writer strike and everything, so I just have no interest in seeing it.
And nobody wants to watch superhero movies anymore. More. Like after Endgame, I was like, I'm done for like the next 5 years. I don't want to see another superhero movie. Like, you know what I mean? I just want to take a break. You know what I mean? Spider-Man was the exception because I love Spider-Man, but anyone else is like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? I really could not care less. And then Sony keeps on pumping them out year after year after year after year about like no-name people that nobody really cares about. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Kraven the Hunter. Sure, I know the name. Madam Web. Sure, I know the name. But it's like, do I really care about them? Not really. Not at all, actually. Like, I would not go. If you told me that there was going to be a Kraven the Hunter movie or a Madam Web movie, I'd be like, sure, okay. I'd be surprised in the first place, but I definitely want to go watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I saw this comment on YouTube, I believe.
Mhm.
Basically, they were saying that the only reason Sony's making these movies is so they can keep the rights to the characters. And if
Okay.
that's true, what do you think about that? Because I think it's kind of greedy in a
I think it's
sense.
such a waste of money.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because what each budget for one is like how many millions of dollars? You know what I
Say
mean?
they have 200 million. Say that.
Yeah. Oh, boo-hoo, you lost the rights to Kraven the Hunter. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, Kraven the Hunter, he's just some guy, you know what I mean? He's just some dude who likes to hunt. I don't know. He's
Yeah,
kind of weak, actually. It's like, lose or you know what, just throw him into like one movie as like a cameo or whatever. I'm sure that would do the trick. You know what I mean? But why do you need to make so many movies, spending so many millions of dollars to keep the rights of somebody that nobody really cares about?
yeah. I definitely agree with that. I think if that rumor or comment is true, it's more detrimental to Sony in the end. But maybe they do have some plan where they want to expand upon the Spider-Man universe before reintroducing their Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, they better step it up because nobody really likes any of the movies. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Morbius, everyone says, "Oh, we love Morbius." You know what I mean? And it just got clowned on. Like, and you know what they're saying? They said, and I don't know this, but they said that they're going to make a Morbius 2 because the first one did so well. It's like, okay, really?
yeah. I remember seeing that. I
Yeah,
also remember seeing or thinking that Minions 2 outperformed Morbius. I don't
yeah.
have the numbers, but I'm pretty sure Minions 2 did end up earning more than Morbius, which is just so funny to me.
And it's like, they are just out of touch, I think. They don't
Yeah,
really get their audience. They don't really get anything.
yeah.
Uh, Like, really? You think Morbius, the first one, did well? You think people were just memeing it on Twitter because they really genuinely enjoyed the movie? No, they're clowning on it because they think it's bad.
Yeah.
Get this inside your head, Sony. I don't know. I'm waiting for them to make their Hail Mary pass, and I'm fully expecting it to fall flat on its face, and for them to realize that they spent like what, hundreds of millions of dollars on movies that don't really lead up to anything. That kind of just flopped. I don't know though.
Yeah. We'll see. Only
Yeah.
time will tell where they go with their Spider-Man plans.
Mm.
No.
In fact, I'll say it. If their Hail Mary ends up working really well and everyone's like, you have to watch it, this is a must watch. I'm pissed, bro. I'm actually mad because now I do have to go back and watch six terrible movies just to get this really, really good
Just
movie.
to get the
You know
good
what I mean?
experience in the last one.
Exactly. And I will have to because I'm a humongous Spider-Man fan. So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I guess I have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen all kinds of rumors
Yeah.
since Venom first came out, and everyone's like, "Oh, Venom's gonna be in Tom Holland's universe. Oh, they're setting up Spider-Man
Yeah.
4. Venom's gonna return in Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire." But no one knows. Like the amount of rumors and takes that just show up after one of these
Yeah.
movies drops is like hilarious. Like
And I
in
will say, I'm glad that none of these people are actually the writers. These theories are so bad.
yeah, yeah, definitely agree with that. But I will say I will give them some credit because the Morbius trailer literally has Spider-Man. Like I remember there's a clip of Spider-Man graffiti and it's Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and
Mhm.
everyone was like freaking out because everyone thought Tobey was like making a cameo or something because of this graffiti. Then I went to go
Mhm.
see it and I was like they totally just cut that out of the movie. There's no
Oh,
graffiti, no whatever. Yeah. And then there was a reference to Oscorp, I think, in like one of the news articles, but yeah, they
mm.
they just completely
I'd be
Yeah,
so angry, by the way, if I went to go see Morbius being like, all right, Toby's in this movie, or even just any mention of Spider-Man at all. And
yeah,
then the best I get is like some glorified like Oscorp cameo. And I'm like, yep, I know what Oscorp is. Thanks, guys.
yeah. The only reference to Spider-Man was from Vulture in the post-credit
Mm,
scene that I remember.
so lazy.
Yeah. Ugh,
Uh,
what a bad movie.
I am all superheroed out. I cannot watch any more superhero movies, and I definitely will not watch any of those like I don't know Spider-Man villain movies. I'm telling you now, it just seems so bad,
Yeah, I
so
definitely
unfun.
think there's a stagnation with the
Mhm.
superhero film department, and for me personally, it has to be really good if
Mm,
I'm gonna go out and see it.
right,
Something like
and
Guardians of
yeah,
the Galaxy, No Way Home, those are and into the Across the Spider Verse. Those are some of the last superhero movies I've seen. And
those are the only ones I've watched actually
Blue Beetle was pretty
ever
good.
since. Yeah,
It just came out at the wrong time,
yeah.
but yeah.
Mm.
What were you saying?
Oh no, those are just the only ones I've watched ever since like Endgame. You know, I saw Endgame, and like several years of build up, even like almost a decade. I was like, yes, it's finally come to an end. And I was like, I just want to take a break now. Like I can't keep on following up on this humongous event with more momentum. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Superhero
That's
fatigue is real. Let's
true.
end it with that, I think.
Let's end it with that.
Moving on to our next topic.
Okay.
The music producer and singer Lauv. Have you heard of him?
I have actually. I do
Okay.
have a couple of songs on of his on my playlist.
Okay, perfect. He recently granted AI the rights to recreate his voice in different languages. So recently, there's this song called "Love You Like That," I believe. He released that about 2 months ago, but a Korean version came out last week. I listened to it. It sounds pretty good, and it does sound like him, but it's all
Mhm.
in Korean. And I just wanted to know what your thoughts on this were.
Well, I actually kind of want to hear what your thoughts are because I don't really have a whole opinion formulated on this. I'm kind of iffy on this idea of like AI. On one hand, I'm like, okay, I don't really want it to get out of control. But on the other hand, it's like, well, the cat's out of the bag, you know? So there's nothing that you can really do about it to force it back in. So I don't know. Mine's a really boring opinion. So let's hear yours first.
I think overall it's probably a good thing for him, but for the industry as a whole, I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know the contract, of course, of like what he's allowed AI to do. Like I don't know if he's only allowed to do Korean versions, or there could be a Spanish version or something. But the Korean version is the only one that's been uploaded as
Hmm.
the time of this recording. I think it's a move that more artists will start to do because, like you said, the cat's out of the bag, and I don't see any
Hmm.
of them really stopping that.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. I don't know because it's such an interesting thing because they could just learn the language. They could spend
Hmm.
2 months on Duolingo, Rosetta Stone, and learn the language themselves, and then
Right.
record it. I think it takes a little bit of authenticity out of the song,
Yeah.
knowing that it's made by AI. I also think
Yeah.
he should disclose that, like in the song, like in the album, or not the album, the song's title. It could say AI re-recording
Hmm.
in Korean or something. Because if you look it up, it just says Korean version or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. And then you're thinking like, oh wow, Lauv actually learned Korean for this. No, he did not.
Right.
He literally just yeah.
Yeah. I think it is a smart move, but it does raise the question of what AI should be allowed to do in terms of
Mhm.
like art, because I know a lot of people have issues with like AI art and
Mm.
writing. I know that
Yeah.
that was a big focus on the writer strike because they don't want AI to write these stories, which I definitely agree
Mhm.
because at the point AI is right now, it cannot write a good story.
Yeah, definitely not. Well, neither can any of the writers at Sony when it comes to Madam Web or whatever,
To
but
Morbius, the Morbius writers are they're included in the strike.
yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's definitely like Pandora's box, and
Mm.
we don't know where that will go. We also
Okay.
don't know the split between like record label and artist, how much of the money like
Yeah.
those artists would be getting if they are granting
Okay.
AI recreation of their voice.
Okay. I've created my opinion now.
All right,
All right.
shoot, let's
I
do it.
I think it sucks. At least, again, like you said, not for him, but for like the music industry. Because, you know, now that he's done it, every other artist is going to start doing it. And like obviously he jumped onto the wagon to make as much money as possible, but he also opened Pandora's box. And now it's going to be so difficult to like listen to music and be like, okay, did the artist actually write this or is it AI written? And it just sort of destroys the like authenticity or like the genuineness of music. It's like the same way with like AI art, right? Sure, it looks good or whatever. Yeah, sure. At the end of the day, it gets the job done. Sure, whatever. But at the end of the day, it is lacking like a very critical, like human aspect, which is what the entire point of art is about. Like, I can't speak so much for music, but I do a lot of visual arts, as you
Right.
can see. I'm not well, but I still have a passion for it.
Of
You know what
course.
I mean?
Yeah.
And see, I'm fine with AI art. Like I get why people would do it. Like I've used it myself when I need to like generate a thumbnail for my YouTube videos and I'm like, okay, I don't want to draw this out and I don't want to pay somebody to draw this out and I need the video tonight. And AI art is really great for that. But the second that like you start to think that AI art is like real art, it's not because it is lacking something that is very critically like human. Does that make sense? Which is what the entire point of art is, in my opinion, is
Right.
that it shows off a human's mastery, a human's technique, a human's heart, like you know what I mean, like a human's like I don't know, is a crystallization of somebody's will. And to add AI art to it is so it defeats the purpose. And I would say that's the same with music.
Okay. I agree. I think it is almost a slap in the face with AI art because I know
Mm,
their algorithms, like the way that they
mm,
recreate the art, is they pull thousands or millions of different art pieces
mm,
online and then recreate it because it's really interesting. Like if you asked AI to draw an apple, for example, it doesn't know what an apple looks like. It just knows what pictures of an apple looks like, if that makes
mm,
sense. And so it's
yeah.
recreating the apple based on those pictures
Hmm.
because obviously AI can't see right now, so
Yeah.
it's just recreating the image based on those millions of interpretations of an
Hmm.
apple, like artwork of an apple, I'll say.
Oh, I had something to add. If you
Yes.
ask AI to generate like a picture of a man or a woman, it will generate like and you don't even have to say it has to be a beautiful man or woman, but it'll generate like a beautiful man or woman. It generates a man and it literally looks like Giga Chad, bro.
Yeah, like
You know?
Hercules in the flesh.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
So,
that's just because of how it was trained with
mm,
the data. I think it's really interesting to think that the way they perceive things is very different from how we
yeah,
perceive things because it's all
mhm. It's
computational
just
based.
patterns.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, patterns. With Lauv, I know that the lyrics were translated by I want to say a Korean artist, like a Korean singer. Does that
yeah,
change your interpretation of how it's being handled? Because it's not translated. It's not like directly translated from English to Korean and then they just AI
yeah.
record it. It is written with it is written by someone who has knowledge of the language and then just re-recorded with the voice.
Not really, no. That would be
Okay.
like saying I plug in a prompt into an AI art, and then I'm like, okay, that's not giving me exactly what I want. So I change the prompt a little, and then it gives me what I want, and I'm like, okay, nice. Now I'm an artist. Like I'm officially an artist. No, you are not. Like at the end of the day, you still use AI to execute what you wanted to do. You know what I mean? And just adding one human step into it does not make the experience art. Does that make
Right.
sense? Like
Yeah.
I am a firm believer that art is what gives like meaning to being human. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so adding one human element into something that's almost entirely made by AI does not suddenly make it art
Right.
all of a sudden.
The one
Yeah.
professional's translation does not
Yes.
justify or not necessarily justify quantitate it being human per
Yeah.
se, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes back to my argument of he could learn the language. Like
Mm. Which is difficult.
he has the translator to help him. Like, because the translator wrote it from English to Korean, so he could
Mhm.
just say, "Hey, how do I say these words?" or things like
Yeah.
that.
And I'm sure it sounds fine, but that's not the issue here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because one day I don't want to like listen to music 10 years in the future and I'll be like, yeah, this sounds pretty good. I wonder if this was made by a robot or if it was made by a human. And I don't want to have to ask myself that question every single time that I want to listen to music. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It kind I don't know. It sort of just defeats the whole purpose of music. But yeah,
it does. Do you watch Black Mirror by chance?
I I know the gist of it.
Okay, it does.
I don't watch anything, by the way. Anytime you ask me, have you watched this? The answer is probably no, but I do know
Okay,
enough about it.
that's okay. I'm kind of. It just reminds me of this Black Mirror episode where this artist, she basically reuses her voice and they put it in like this little bot and then the artist like goes in a coma or something, but they're still using
Mm,
that bot to like make music with her.
mm,
To sum up, I haven't seen it in like 4 years, but it does make me wonder like what if they were to keep using an artist's voice after they passed
yeah,
away, or like
yeah.
you can already do like Michael Jackson covers of
Mhm.
music on like different apps,
Yeah.
and what if these studios were because they are really greedy. I will say that they're trying to right now change the way the law works with re-recording your own music because of Taylor Swift and the success of her Taylor's version. Because
Mm,
normally the benchmark is 5 to 10 years, I want to say, and I believe they're trying to push it out to 20 years, which
mm.
is really, really greedy in my opinion. Anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to implement something like that. Is all I'm trying to say, where they're like using a deceased person's voice for
Mhm.
lucrative gains. You
Yeah,
know,
of
but
course they will do it, guaranteed. I mean, like you said, they've already been doing it, but I expect to see way more of it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It sure is an interesting time that we live in. That's for sure.
definitely
You know?
like a turning point in history.
Yeah.
Do you think
I don't
there
know.
do you think there needs to be a pause in AI developments? I remember when ChatGPT first came out, Elon Musk and a bunch of other technology creators were saying that there needs to be a pause on AI as society takes the time it needs to prepare for it. If that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely, actually,
Yeah.
because what, like AI is growing so fast, and Pandora's box is already open, but at least you can like try and control it a little bit. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, but the second that you have like what, and this is why I'm sort of disappointed in Lauv because I do have a lot of songs of his on my playlist, but it's like, why did you have to be the first one to go and do it? Because now you know that all these other artists are also going to do it. You've
Right.
opened your Pandora's box for music. Why not just like take a step back? You know what I mean? And let it figure itself out. But then again, maybe he did do this so that way it would spark the conversation, and so
Yeah.
that way more laws would be created about it. But I do agree. I think there has to be some regulation because otherwise, in the future, there is no place for artists like anywhere because art can just be spontaneously generated by robots.
Yeah.
Artists of any kind, not just like artists, but like musicians, writers, such and such.
For sure. I think this year has been probably the biggest jump in artificial
Mm,
intelligence, and you see Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, a bunch of other companies. They're all competing to get
mm,
usage out of these products.
yeah.
And I think there should have. I don't know if I can say there should be a pause because I feel like if there were to be a pause, it's almost too late, right?
Mm. But we both agree that there should have been a pause at some point. We shouldn't just
They
let it run rampant. Yeah.
they should have. Yes, I definitely agree that when it first was introduced, maybe they should have had a pause just so laws and such
Mm,
could be introduced because there's so many like AI recreations and AI scams now that are
mm.
like scary to think about. Like
Yeah.
I know there was one going around. I don't know if it's stopped, but basically they could get a recording of your voice, like your voice or my voice, and
Yeah.
then they would call our parents, like they could call my parents and say, "Hey, we have your son hostage," and then it would play a my voice in like an
Yeah.
AI recording and be like, "Help me, I need help," and then like these scammers would be like, "We have your son hostage," like it's like scary to
Yeah.
think about
For
because
sure.
they don't have me hostage. They're just using my voice that they pulled from some clip or some phone call.
Exactly.
Nowadays, I don't answer a number if I don't have their contact because
Sure.
it's just too crazy out there.
Yeah. Sure is an interesting time that we live in, Nick.
Yep, definitely the future.
Yeah. But all I'm saying, let's end it there. Unless you have anything else you want
Well,
to add.
I do like to ask this question when AI is brought up.
Hmm.
Would you let an artificial intelligence perform a surgery on you? In the future, of course, not like tomorrow,
In the
but
future.
in let's say 5 years' time, they've gotten to the point where machines are able to perform surgeries, like emergency surgeries. Would you
Of
would you
course.
do that?
Yeah. Yes. Because when it comes to humans, right? Humans are innately flawed. You know what I mean? Like a surgeon's hands will shake. You know what I mean? Or a
Hmm.
surgeon might be distracted. You know what I mean? So that's why I would let like an AI or a machine do something. Same way that I would let like an AI that was good enough drive for me. Because like if I'm tired and whatever, and I'm like nodding off on the wheel, I won't be able to like keep myself awake all the way, and I will probably get into an accident. Or like if somebody like swerves directly in front of me, I might not be able to react to that. And AI definitely will. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But that's why I disagree so harshly to this idea of AI in art is because, you know, the errors and imperfections is what makes these sorts of things good. It's like a contrast, you know what I mean?
yeah,
The imperfection of a human making a work of art is what makes that work of art great.
right. Because as far as we know, AI
Yeah,
is almost perfect.
it is
No,
perfect. Yeah.
it's flawless. We'll say.
Mhm. Yeah. So, and it's definitely, well, maybe it's not flawless, but it sure is definitely way more flawless than a human could ever aspire to
Yeah,
be.
in
That's for
terms
sure.
of artwork and yeah,
And speed, and speed. That's the most important in today's industry is being able to pump out stuff like very quickly. And AI does it with zero like, or is does it way faster than any human ever could.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Well,
What
thank
about
you
you?
for.
Would you let them do a surgery on you?
I would. If the success rate was higher with an AI than a
Mm,
human, I would. Otherwise, I'd
okay.
just be like, yeah, the doctor can do it, not the
Yeah.
machine.
Yeah.
But it it would be quite some time before we get to that point. I think.
Mm,
Hopefully, at least 5 years. I'd be kind of worried next year if they said we are ready to perform surgeries
mm.
on human
I'm sure
beings.
that they'll do like the first surgery performed by like an AI in like the next 2 years. You know what I mean? But it won't become like a real thing in like until 5 to 10 years. I
Yeah.
sure hope it's longer, so that way like all my buddies in med school won't be put out of jobs so soon. You know what I mean? Wow,
Yeah,
that would just be heartbreaking.
it does bring into question like the job market because
Mm,
I was at the dentist this week and I was talking
yeah.
about how I'm studying computer science, right? And my
Hmm.
dentist was like, "Oh well, I don't think I'll go out of a job quite yet," but he was
Mm,
talking about how his friend was doing graphic design and the graphic design field has just been taken over by
yeah.
AI. It sounds like so definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. I think there needs to be some kind of symbiotic or codependent relationship where like AI should just be a tool instead of
Hmm.
just completely wiping out an industry.
Mm.
If that makes
Yeah, exactly. If I had it my way, which I will never have, by the way, but if I had
I
my
don't know.
way, AI would never touch art, not even close to it. It would not touch writing, not touch, traditional art. It would not touch music, none of that at all. If you want to use it to like help you, I don't know, identify like tumors or whatever, or like help find, or like help you do a surgery, great, fantastic. But I don't know. I feel like once you start talking about AI, you get into this fundamental question of like, what do you do once all humans are out of a job? Do we just live happily ever after then? You know what I mean? Are we just chill now? You
Yeah,
know?
there's
Yeah.
this puzzle game called 7 Billion Humans. It is
Mm,
that premise where AI takes over every job, and the
mm,
humans are so bored with their lives that they want their jobs back. So the AI creates like menial tasks for the humans to
yeah.
do, like shred
Yeah.
papers or grab a coffee. It's like very like
Yeah.
low level work, but the humans are so bored with it because AI does
Mm,
everything that they
yeah.
they want to do those
I
jobs.
I was reading a book pretty similar to it. It was called, well, that's not the premise, but
Right.
it is like one of the settings, and it's called like Scythe by Neil Shusterman. You ever heard of it?
I am not.
And the people in there are so bored, and like the AI just creates things for them to do, like firefighters, like the AI will set like harmless fires so that way the firefighters will have something to do, and every single one of those characters is like, I hate my life, like I have everything that I could ever ask for, I don't need to work, I have like everything handed to me on a platter by the AI, everything is dictated by it, but I just hate my life even though I'm surviving completely fine. And so I don't know, but hey, maybe he was off the mark, but that's just me. I do think that that's something
I
that
th-
might happen.
I think that there is some validity to that because, like you just said a few moments ago, there's like a fundamental human aspect that's missing
Mm,
from like AI. I think if AI were to recreate or to take over the writing market and artist market and all that stuff, there it would be very boring
mm,
in a sense. And I think that's why humanity needs to be shown in these artworks and why
mm,
there's such a push against AI art and stuff
yeah.
like that.
This might be too Buddhist or Confucianism philosophy, but I think we as humans, in order to find happiness, we also need to struggle quite a bit. And I'm not saying like you should have like your whole family slaughtered or anything like that. That would be way too much struggle. But I'm saying like the struggle is worth it. I like a small struggle in order to obtain what you need to get and
Right.
like to feel sadness. Like artists, oh, I'm relating this full circle. Artists call this chiaroscuro, which means like in lightness, where like darkness is created by light and vice versa. You cannot portray this idea of light without there being some idea of darkness, you know what I mean? In the same way that your happiness would not feel profound without sadness, you know what I mean?
Bars. That's
Get me in the
really,
studio
yeah.
right now. An AI could never do what I just
they
did. Well,
they
they
need
probably could.
you to be convincing the government to have a pause on AI. I don't know why
Yeah.
you're not up there at the rallies or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Did you
real.
shed a tear at my profound speech?
I,
Just a little bit?
me personally, no, but I'm not a crier.
No.
I'm sure our listeners will really like awaken
Mm,
after hearing that though,
mm.
for sure.
Comment I cried if you cried in the comment section below.
Yes, please. We need to know. I think that is the best way we could put it. So I am ready to
Mm,
transition to our next topic,
okay.
unless you have something
Nice.
to say.
Oh, I could go on for another hour
You got
about this, but
more
I
bars to
got more
drop.
bars. I got more bars.
Yeah.
Lauv could never.
Well,
All
I'm
right,
sure
now let's keep on
as
going.
we continue our show, like in future
Yep,
episodes, we'll probably come back to this topic as more
of
AI
course,
developments happen. So,
of course.
with that being said, on to our next topic, which is the Game Awards. So, last Wednesday, I believe, the Game Awards and Jeff Keighley announced all of their nominees for this year's running.
Mhm.
Have you taken a look at it? We could look at it together, actually, if you wanted.
Let's take a look, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll open it up right now. So, yes, if we go to nominees right here, we have like 20 different categories, maybe even more, but definitely some bangers. I think this year was probably the best year for gaming in a while. I
In a
think,
while.
yeah, I think 2017 was really good, but this is probably right up there next to 2017. So there it
Mm.
is, Spider-Man 2. I want it to win, but I've seen a lot of people say Baldur's Gate 3, and I haven't
Why
played.
is that?
Apparently, this game, I haven't played it yet, but it is on my wish list. But
Mm.
apparently, this game was so good that other studios were worried about the precedent it was setting for gaming, that they said, "Oh yeah, don't expect another game like Baldur's Gate 3." Like they
Mm.
were admitting that this game was like beyond compare apparently.
Mm.
And
Interesting.
I have seen some clips and such of the game. It's basically set in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, and
Mm.
you are cursed by the Mind Flayer, which is a pretty popular character in that universe, and
Mm.
you have to break free from the Mind Flayer's curse. To sum up, and it is like a traditional Dungeons and Dragons game. Apparently, like you can do whatever you come to mind. I saw this clip online of a person fighting against like goblins or something, but the way he was doing it is he was pushing the chest he opened in um in the dungeon, and he pushed the chest and like used a magic spell to fling it at the goblins.
Wow.
It treated them like bowling balls, and like I've never seen that in a game where you can like
Mm.
interact with the environment like that, and I think that's really cool. So
That's fantastic.
it is on my wish list, and it's probably like the next game I will pick up. Yeah.
The only clip that I've ever seen of Baldur's Gate was when the woman kicked a squirrel, and then she wrote like a nat 20 on it. And the squirrel just disintegrated.
Yeah,
And her companion's like, "What are you doing? Why'd you kick the squirrel?"
that's
Boy.
I've never seen that, but
And
I
that
gotta find
made
that
it.
now. That's
That alone made it game of the year for me. Like, can you
yeah.
kick squirrels in Spider-Man 2? I don't
No.
think so. Are you kicking squirrels in Super Mario Bros. Wonder? I don't think so. Only in Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, I that's really funny. I know you could do like whatever your mind thinks of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we could get into it, but it is like a true
Mhm.
Dungeons and Dragons experience. So
Or I have seen some more clips actually. That's not the only clip I've seen, but like the dialogue is really good. The voice actors kill it, apparently. I
yeah,
think they did pretty good in the clips that I saw. And
yeah,
so it just seems like a very, like I'd actually always kind of wanted like a Dungeons and Dragons game. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
just think it would be so interesting to see it like implemented rather than just like rolling it on the board and using your imagination. I I do think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win. Actually, now that you bring it up,
Yeah.
I don't
I
see
mean,
Spider-Man winning, not because it wasn't a good game, but because I just don't think it makes sense, or I don't think that they would make like a sequel game of the year. Does that make sense?
that's
I don't
true.
know though.
Last year it was Elden Ring. It was between Elden
Mm.
Ring and God of War Ragnarok, and I played both and loved both, but I do think that originality factor played into Elden Ring winning.
Wait, what was the other one that you mentioned?
God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Both really good games, but
Mm.
yeah, I want to try Baldur's Gate 3 before I say, "Oh yes, this is definitely game of the year."
Mm.
So, for me between it's between Spider-Man, Resident Evil and Zelda, and I think Spider-Man should win it.
Mm. Gotcha.
But, that will
I
change.
don't know. Didn't
Yeah.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder only get released like I don't know, like a couple weeks ago? Yeah.
Yeah, it came at the same time as Spider-Man 2, I'm pretty sure,
Mm.
but
Have you taken a look at it?
not yet.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure why it might really deserve to win like game of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If because I don't feel like it pushes a crazy amount of boundaries.
Hmm.
Anything I would have said like maybe Super Mario Odyssey would have been more of a contender, but from what I've seen of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, it just looks like another platformer where you're just running. And I will say that it does differ from traditional Mario Bros. In the fact that you can keep on running. Does that make sense? And that there's like more creativity and whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
overall, I wouldn't say that's the game of the year material.
I think the most surprising one here is Resident Evil 4, and that's solely because it's a remake.
Mm,
All other games in this category are original pieces. So I guess congrats to Capcom for having a remake
mm.
be considered as game of the year. I just thought it was really
Yeah.
interesting when I first saw this when it was announced.
It's 100% just because of Ada Wong. I guarantee it.
Yeah, the remade Ada. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that convinced the people at the
Mm,
whoever decides this that it should be
yeah.
Game of the Year.
Although I will say Leon Kennedy does look like a Chad in this one. I'm
Yeah,
sure that maybe that had a little bit
the
to do
goat
with it.
Leon.
I don't know
What a
though.
glow up.
Yeah. Any
Anyway,
other any other games that you think should have been Game of the Year
um,
that you didn't see on here?
I don't think it should have been up here, but I did see a lot of people say Starfield should have been on here. Um,
Do you think so?
no, I don't think so, but it's just kind of funny seeing online how the Xbox fans are like, oh, they're rigging it against us. They hate Xbox.
Mm,
This isn't fair, you know.
yeah.
But
Well, tell Xbox to make some better games, and then you can start talking then. You
right,
know what I
I
mean?
mean, this
And
lineup
from what?
alone,
Yeah.
if I were to only play these 6 games, I think that I would still consider it a great year. So I think they all
Mm,
deserve to be up here. And
that's true.
I'm missing 3 of them, but just
Mm,
based on what other people have said about all of these games, I think that is a very fulfilling year. I was surprised
mm.
Jedi Star Wars Jedi Survivor wasn't on here. But
That series looks amazing, I will
yeah,
say.
but I don't know if that I think if I were to have I think that would have replaced Resident Evil 4 for me. I don't know if I'd have Resident
Mm.
Evil 4. Anyway, moving on from game of the year, there is um I, sorry, where's the list?
Ellis.
All
Let
categories.
me
I'm crazy. Okay, there
Okay.
is best narrative, art direction, and performance. And I want to take a look at all of those
Okay.
because I don't know if Spider-Man will win game of the year,
Mm.
but I do hope it wins narrative, and I hope Yuri Lowenthal wins performance. That one's gonna be
I,
pretty close though. So,
I do think Yuri Lowenthal is probably one of the best voice actors in the North American market. That
yeah.
crazy of me to say?
No, I've been looking at his work. Like he voices
Mm.
Sasuke in Naruto, not and Naruto. He voices Sasuke and Ben 10 and like a bunch of other characters, which I was really surprised to see because
Mm.
but it's really cool to see how he used that experience in Peter Parker because like you can almost
Mm.
say when he's got the symbiote on, he does have like more of a edgier, angstier voice, like similar
Mm.
to how he voices Sasuke.
Mm.
But maybe that's
Interesting.
just me. Anyway, so
Okay.
yes, I do hope Spider-Man 2 is the winner for best narrative. It could definitely go to like Final Fantasy, Baldur's Gate, or Alan Wake, but I do hope Spider-Man wins that one.
Gotcha.
Um, art direction. I feel like score and music's probably just gonna be Final Fantasy. So, ooh,
I
Lies of
feel
P
like
is
Final Fantasy. Lies of P, have you ever played it?
not yet, but
You know the gist?
I
This
do.
is one of the games that I was incredibly hyped about. I'm not even going to lie.
Yeah, I
It looked cool. It's interesting, you know.
yeah. I mean, even from the Steam page alone, that was enough. Oh, it's on sale. That was enough to convince me to buy it because like
Mm.
just look at this. Like that is really
Yeah.
really cool. It's like very steampunk, which is
Mm.
totally my vibe. But
Yeah.
yeah, this
And the
photo
premise
right
is,
here, this photo almost sold me to buy it alone. Like it just
yeah,
looks so cool and so
yeah,
beautiful. Like with the glass behind, and you have like the it's like a
yeah.
imitation of the Pietra from like the Renaissance period, but it's Pinocchio or whatever, and that's really to me. So I definitely
And
see.
the premise is so cool too. You play as Pinocchio, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
And all the bosses, or like a lot of the bosses, are like, I don't know, like, well, from children's stories or like fairy tales or whatever,
right, yeah,
very interesting.
yeah.
And so,
Definitely,
yeah,
yeah. I definitely think it will win this. It could be Mario
mhm,
Wonder though, but I mean, look at
yeah,
that. Like this
yeah,
alone is enough. Like I want to buy it now. Now that I know it's on sale, I'm like thinking
yeah,
maybe I should get it just from looking at like this artwork.
mhm,
So
yeah.
really beautiful, really cool.
And
Uh,
it really tackles what it means to be human. Wow, we really brought it
we're going
full
full
circle.
circle.
Yeah,
Wowzer.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, yes, Liza P definitely hope it wins that one. Best performance. Let's see what's we've got here. So we have Yuri Lowenthal. I do hope he
Oh,
wins.
he has to. Please.
Cameron, ooh, Cameron though from Jedi Survivor. Ben
Oh,
Starr, Idris
actually,
Elba.
I will say Neil Newbon in Baldur's Gate, every clip I've seen of his character, wow, he does fantastic. Simply
Wow.
great.
So this one's pretty stacked too, you would say, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
this is really stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Ben Starr also did really good as Clive in
Mm,
Final Fantasy, and
mm.
it's definitely going to be a toss up between all 6 of them. So I
Actually, you know what? Cameron, yeah,
I mean,
from Star
yeah,
Wars Jedi Survivor, wow, he does great.
yeah. I hope it's Yuri just because Spider-Man 2,
Spider-Man.
he did such a great job
Mm,
between symbiote Peter and normal Peter, and also between Peter and Spider-Man. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's probably what's going to give him the edge. And there's
yeah,
just so many like emotional moments in there, and he just nails it every single time.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
Dude, we should like stream a watch party next month when
Mm,
it happens. Post it on
yeah.
the channel.
Yeah. But he definitely showed off his range this
Yeah,
one. I mean, yeah.
yeah, for sure. I mean, he's had 20 plus years of voice acting experience. I think this game allowed him to show
Mm.
all of his talent. Any other categories you want to look at? I think I've covered most of the ones I was drawn to, but if you have any, we can take a look and talk about it.
Well, let's take a look at content creator of the year
All right.
on the bottom. Yeah. You know any of these guys?
Okay, I know Cypher Quackity.
Okay.
That's it. Do you know? I hope you know all of them because it's gonna be bad if we only know
No,
like two.
no.
Okay.
I also only know Cypher and Quackity. I do
Yeah.
know Iron Mouse a little bit. She's like a VTuber, part of
Okay,
like the
that's
V
cool.
Shoujo company or whatever. She's pretty unhinged, pretty interesting. I will say that she is pretty funny and whatever. So I honestly hope that out of any one of them, it goes to her because it would be like a big landmark for like a VTuber
Yeah, that'd
to
be
win
really
Creator of
cool.
the Year. And to be totally honest with you, I don't know. I feel like I'm not as big of a fan of Quackity and Cypher PK. I'm not quite sure why they're up there. When, like, for example, Ludwig exists. Ludwig had a really great year this year.
Yes, that
It
is
was
true.
like insane how much he grew this year, how much he went from like, streamer to almost becoming like sort of like a household name to people who are like well acquainted in gaming and
Yeah.
whatever. And he's starting to become almost a household name. Like he's on his way there. You know what I mean?
Was
Yeah.
chess boxing this year or was that last year?
I
His
think it
his
was
his chess boxing.
this year,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know though.
mean, yeah, he's just done a lot for the content creator space, so it is kind of
Mm,
surprising that he's not up here.
exactly. Yeah.
Almost kind of in that market though. I feel like if he were to be nominated, then people like Mr. Beast would kind of have to be nominated every year, and obviously
That's true.
it wouldn't be fair. So I don't know if these five did something in particular to be up here, but yeah, I definitely think Ludwig is missing.
Well,
Maybe
if you look at the caption, it says for a streamer or content creator who has made an important and positive impact on the community in 2023.
yeah,
So I want to say that Ludwig probably is should be up there simply because like it's gaming based. Mr.
yeah,
Beast is like a really good content creator, but not so much in like the realm of gaming. Does that
yeah,
make sense?
for sure.
Iron Mouse probably is up there because she pushes the boundaries for like VTubers and she just does creative things and it makes people consider like, oh, maybe I should become a VTuber or like this is achievable. You know what I mean? Cypher is just good at gaming. Not to hate on Quackity, but I don't really know like if he's done anything outstanding to deserve being
Right.
up there other than having a huge fan base of Minecraft children. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
So you're hoping Iron Mouse wins it.
I I I do hope Iron Mouse wins it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know people make games. If I
Yeah.
did, maybe I'd have more of an opinion. Same with Spreen. I don't know what he's up there for because I don't even know who
Yeah.
they are.
I think the baseline is you have to
You
know
have to know them.
what they're there for and what they do.
Yeah.
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 Well, that's cool. It would be very like monumental if Iron Mouse were to win.
Mm.
Especially
I mean, her being up there in the first place is already pretty big.
that's
So,
true.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Going back to our list of categories. Uh, indie game, mobile game. I mean, RPG is probably going to be like Baldur's Gate or
Mm.
oh, I think Starfield is in this. I remember people saying they like part of the rigging is like there's no way Starfield
Oh,
wins when Final Fantasy and Lies of P and Baldur's Gate, Sea of Stars,
yeah,
they're all there. It's
exactly.
like they're just
I
they're rigging it against Xbox
Starfield does not
so they can't win.
I saw like what you play 2 hours of Starfield gaming, and I
Right.
saw 10 minutes of Lies of P like gameplay, and I gotta say Starfield does not even hold a candle to Lies of P.
Yeah,
It is Lies of P is that fantastic, and I'm sure it's the same with Final Fantasy, and I'm sure that is the same with Baldur's Gate. I mean, I've only seen like what 1 minute of Baldur's Gate 3 of gameplay, and it's already, in my opinion, better than the entirety of Starfield from what I've seen.
for sure. Yeah, it's just so funny how delusional
They,
fans can be.
yeah,
you
I
know,
know.
the game
It's like
the game awards is rigged. They're taking away Starfield's wins.
how about you just tell Starfield to be a better game?
At least they're on the board, They won't win,
That's
but at
true.
least they're on the board. I mean,
That's true.
with this category, do you think Baldur's Gate 3 will win? Like, I don't know if
Wait,
you I don't know.
let's read the caption. Let's see what it was asking.
Which
Fit rich player customization and progression. Hmm.
including massively multiplayer experience.
See, that's the thing, is that they're all such good choices. You know what I mean? The first three are
Yeah.
such crazy choices. Like,
Sea of Stars is really good too. It's very
mm,
similar to Chrono Trigger,
mm,
which is like an old school RPG, so it's like kind of like inspired by those 90s RPG. And yeah, I think these four are like such strong contenders, but it probably will
Mm,
be Baldur's Gate just because of how groundbreaking it is.
yeah,
It's bad when other companies are saying this is a level of precedent
yeah,
we don't want to
yeah.
have.
Wait, we can't even compete with this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
So yeah, I gotta get these two though. Baldur's Gate and Lies of P, like they're on
mm,
my list.
yeah. In
Definitely.
fact, if you're a Starfield gamer, you should be happy that's up there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's not even going to compete with any of the other ones up there. But
yeah. But
in all honesty, at least it's up there. At least it's
it's
up there.
it's good enough to be compared to the greats.
Mm,
You've
yeah.
got these
I
four
mean,
over here in Starfield.
yeah. I mean, at least it's like, 10% of their greatness,
Yeah,
Feel happy about that.
I definitely think Starfield just released too late. If it came out, even if it came, I think if it came out during 2020, it would have been amazing because
Yeah.
it's COVID and everyone's at home, and like they
Hmm.
could have really sunk their teeth into this game. Like I only have
Exactly.
about 15 hours, but that's because I'm so busy as a college student. I can
Yeah.
only play like an hour a day. You
Yeah.
know, so
They picked a bad year to do it
for
because the
sure.
lineup is so stacked this
Yeah,
year.
for
What
sure.
about best esports event? I'm not really
Oh, this is
too invested
interesting.
in any of these,
Yeah, I think
but
all of these are interesting. I'm sure it's like League Worlds,
mm.
maybe Valorant's up here.
Oh wow, how did you know? 2 out of 5 already. Evo 2023, from what I heard, was actually kind of like disappointing because they didn't have Super Smash, they didn't have Melee,
What is
um,
Evo? Is that just a collection of like different games?
fighting games. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Dota International. That sounds. I mean,
I didn't realize that Dota was still around, to be totally honest with you. Like
they.
I'm sure that they have championships, but
Yeah, I I know recent like a year ago they just released like a new update that kind of changed a lot. Like they made the map
mm,
bigger and stuff like that. I think they reworked a lot of like animations and stuff. And
yeah,
yeah, I don't know if this was nominated last year, but good to see that it's up here this year. Definitely
if
makes me think that
yeah,
Dota 3 is coming. Yeah, gotta have hope that
please
the
Dota
league
3
the
get in
league
here.
killer is on its way.
I sure hope so. I hope they've been biding their time,
Yeah,
making a fantastic killer game this entire time.
yeah, they just spent
I
like 12 years on it.
Yeah. The
Please,
only thing
please,
that
Valve.
would make me sad about having a lead killer is that now my skins carry over. You know what
That's
I mean?
true. You can
Yeah.
always go back, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you're good at Dota, you'll be good at League.
That's
I
true.
think I will stand by that because
Mm.
Dota's so much more mechanical.
Okay. And 2023 League of Legends World Championship. If Faker wins, I sure hope that this one wins. You know what I mean? And so T1 and I think another Chinese team, I can't pronounce it. They're in the finals right now.
Okay,
So
and is
T1
that
has a very good shot of winning
yeah?
it
Is that this week or something?
this Sunday, actually.
Oh, like
Tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Maybe maybe we will talk about that next week then.
Yeah.
Let's see. I know I saw athlete. I wonder who's up here.
Esports athletes.
Okay, there's your man Faker
There's Faker.
and
Okay.
Ruler. I know Faker and Ruler. I don't know the others, but I mean I think
No.
Faker just wins on popularity alone.
Yeah.
So
He's like a celebrity in Korea, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
he is the only one that I know for sure. Does that sound I don't even know Ruler all that well. I mean, I know that he exists, but that's about it.
Yeah,
These people, this is my first time ever seeing them.
yeah. But good on Apex to get some representation up there
Yeah.
though. That's cool. And CS:GO now that
Mhm.
CS2 is back. But yeah, probably gonna be Faker just on popularity alone. Best
Oh, and if he
on
wins this one, if he wins uh Worlds this week, oh wow, what a
yeah,
way to end it.
yeah.
But
I mean,
that's a conversation for next week when it actually happens. When we
yeah,
know for sure, you
yeah.
know what I mean?
I saw like their promo where it's like all roads lead to me. Like that is cold, That is
That is
some
so
bars.
cold, actually.
So
And if it was anyone who said that, I'd be like, yeah, yeah, sure,
yeah.
buddy. All roads lead to you. But when it's
But
Faker
when it's
saying it,
Faker,
the unkillable Demon King,
yeah,
oh,
definitely hype.
beautiful.
Like yeah, it is. You'll have to tell me because I'm not too
Mm,
knowledgeable about this. But is Worlds
yeah,
like just one? Is it one game tomorrow, or is it like a
I
series of
think it's
games?
5.
Okay,
It might be 5.
so it's gonna be like an all day thing, kind of.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely something to look forward to if you are a big league
Mm,
fan because
yeah.
it is the event of the year
You
for
know what?
league.
Maybe you and I will watch it like one night and we'll just react to it. You know what I mean? Have a react Andy and then upload it here. You know what I mean?
I'm totally down.
All
So
right, let's go.
tomorrow, what time? Oh wait, what time is it tomorrow? Or would we react to it later? I don't know if I could do it tomorrow.
Mm, let's try and aim for tomorrow. But if nothing happens, then we'll just react after. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just don't get spoiled by our buddies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure that one of our buddies is going to spoil it. They'll pop off in the chat being like, "Oh my God, T1 won," or
Yeah,
T1 through again
yeah, for
for
sure.
the 80th time."
I know.
But yeah,
I know. Last year was Gen G, right?
it was really sad. Yeah. Or no, no, I think it was DWG.
Oh yeah, I knew they had a G.
Mm.
I'm not on into esports as
Yeah,
much
I'm
as.
not the biggest esports chat either, but
Oh, I did want to look at best adaptation. I forgot
well,
about
let's
this.
take a look at that.
You know, very disappointed with no Five Nights at Freddy's, but we got
Mm.
some good ones up here with Last of
Castlevania,
Us and
pretty good. Last of Us is pretty
Castlevania
good.
and Mario
And
Movie.
Grand Term, oh, Mario movie might just be the one to win it.
I,
I'm
I
not even gonna
actually
lie.
I actually think it could be Last of Us. I definitely think it's between these two.
What about Castlevania?
Uh,
They got
I
pretty good anime.
I didn't watch it, but did
Mm.
you? You'll have to let me
No,
know.
not really,
Okay.
but it looks really good from what I've seen. Gran Turismo, um, I don't know. It seemed kind of they kept rubbing it in our face that it was like a real story, and I was like, yeah, I get it. It's
Yeah.
a real story. Is that really so far-fetched to believe? But yeah,
Gamer turned professional race car
true.
driver. I watched it.
Exactly.
It was pretty good, I'll say, but I wouldn't say it's an adaptation of like a video game
Of anything. Yeah, I
because
mean, it's just a real
it's
it's a
it's
real
a real
story.
story, right? So you're not adapting the video game story, you're adapting this
Mm.
person's
This
life
dude's story.
as a
Yeah.
movie.
You know
And you're
what
just
Twisted
throwing.
Metal is?
I haven't, but I heard it actually did pretty good apparently, according to people that did watch it, but I didn't
Wait,
watch it.
it what?
It
You cut out.
oh sorry. I heard it was actually a pretty solid adaptation, but I mean you're going against Mario movie,
Mario
which made
movie?
over $1 billion, and it's
True.
an animated movie, which is really impressive.
And The Last of Us, which people would not stop talking about, and for good
Yeah,
reason, because it seemed really good.
yeah. I mean they've already announced season 2 for Last of Us,
Mm.
while season 1 was still airing, so you know it got hype. And
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal, Bella Ramsey are both very good
yeah.
in their portrayal of Joel and Ellie.
Although I will say nothing can beat Jack Black as Bowser. I mean, he really did well. I'm not even gonna lie. Not
Yeah.
to meet right or anything, but he is actually fantastic in that role.
What do you think about like Chris Pratt as Mario though? Do you think that is
Okay,
enough to weigh them down?
this this is actually my hottest take of this entire show.
Oh,
I think Chris Pratt was the only acceptable choice for Mario.
okay.
Because okay, here's the thing, right?
Elaborate. Yes.
Is because okay, I would not watch an entire movie where Mario's going or whatever in his Italian accent. But
Yeah.
yeah, that might be kind of fun for like 5 minutes, 5 minutes tops, and I'll get incredibly frustrated, and I wouldn't be able to go. I wouldn't know what's going on because I'd just be so focused on Mario's
It's so
whatever.
you're
You
cutting
know what
out,
I
so
mean?
it's so funny because you like
Yeah.
hear the start and then it just goes blank.
Okay.
I'll edit in
Gotcha.
some sound effects of Mario when you're
Yeah.
doing that.
And so I'm like, okay, so I don't want to hear like Mario being Italian the entire movie, or not Italian, but like being Mario. And so I'm like, okay, so so that means that you can't cast some no-namer because if you cast some no-namer, then people will just assume that Mario will sound like that, right?
Right.
So instead, you need to cast like some dude who you know for a fact can't voice act for anything, and that he definitely won't be able to make the Mario voice, but he just has a regular dude voice. So I don't know. I think Chris Pratt was like probably one of the only choices where people like look at him and they'll think, yeah, this guy definitely can't voice act. So Mario's going to be in a normal dude voice the entire movie, and
Right.
it's a recognizable name. You know what I mean? And it's just recognizable, like Chris Pratt as Mario. I mean,
Yeah. I I think it makes sense. I think. Oh, now that you're saying that, I think Mario will probably win because they made it make sense in this world where it's like he's playing on the Italian thing, like he's doing
yeah.
it for his commercial, and
Mm,
so I think that makes sense in the world of Mario, and like they're adapting probably the most iconic video game character into
yeah,
this movie. So
yeah. So they can't cast like some random voice actor.
right,
You know what I mean? They
yeah,
need to have a big name out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I know Charles Martinet, which is the voice actor for Mario in the games. I don't think he's very popular outside of the
Mm,
gaming industry.
exactly.
So
Like if you said Charles Martinet, you'd be like, who? And
right,
then if you do know who he is, then you're like, oh wait, so Mario's going to be talking like Mario for an
right,
hour and a half. That would be
yeah,
so frustrating.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think they made the right call in the end. I
I
don't know though.
I agree. I was pleasantly surprised by his voice acting, and it turned out a lot better than I
He
thought
did
it
good.
would. Yeah,
He actually did fine. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely one of these two, but most
Mm,
likely Mario. I don't think you can compete with the most popular game character and one of the biggest movies
exactly.
of this year.
Mm,
I don't know. It's definitely the biggest animated movie this year, but I don't know where it ranks in terms of like earnings. But it's definitely
mm.
up there because it is one of the only to pass a billion. So
A Billion
yeah,
is also one of the only movies I watched this year. So let's
that's
just
your
go with
seal of
that.
approval. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's go with
that's
that. um, best ongoing. I don't know what this
curious.
tails. Yeah. Okay,
Cyberpunk. Oh,
Fortnite. It's
sorry.
Fortnite.
Let's get some Fortnite in the chat, bro. That's
Yeah,
so sick.
yeah. It's Fortnite. I mean, just this year alone. I mean, going back to OG Fortnite
Yeah. Although
and
I will say Cyberpunk, didn't you say that it had like a actually pretty impressive comeback? Because it was so garbage in the beginning, and then now it's turned it around into the game that they wanted it to be.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't see Cyberpunk. I saw Fortnite. I'm like, that's my winner.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
With Cyberpunk, I don't know because it did have that tremendous low,
Mm,
you know. So I don't
that's
know.
true.
It definitely is the game they want now. It is like in a much better state, but
Mm,
I don't know if we can. If there was like a best revival or something, I would definitely
yeah.
give it to that. But I don't know if you could consider it as ongoing because they've just been
Maybe they should
having to
make.
fix everything they made.
Here's my hot take. They should put Cyberpunk 2077 in the best adaptation because they completely turned. It's a completely different game
Yeah,
from what they had originally.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apex Legends, poor thing. It can never begin to even compete with Fortnite.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I think Final Fantasy 14 is more likely to win Apex, but I do think it will be Fortnite with OG Fortnite making a return and everything else
Mm,
that's happened this year.
yeah.
Uh,
They need Genshin on there just to keep Genshin fans happy,
yeah.
which will never work, by the way, because Genshin fans are never happy about anything. So,
Are they
yeah,
reaching the end of the story? Do you know?
they're like halfway.
Okay, so like 4 out of 7 years down.
Yeah, 4 out of 7.
What a marketing move. Let's look at one more. Your
Okay,
pick. But
all right. Let's take a look at best action and adventure.
all right, let's do it. Call of Duty, maybe. Okay,
Spider-Man. Oh wait,
Spider.
this is basically the exact
This is
same
like
thing
game of
as
the year almost.
yeah.
But with
Well,
Star
plus
Wars and
Star Wars
no Baldur's Gate for once.
and no Super Mario Bros. Wonder,
That's true, I
which
guess.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
So
I
four
think
out of the
Legend
six.
of Zelda is going to win this one.
Um,
Probably, maybe, because it's like
combat.
combat with traversal and puzzle solving. You know what I mean? But
I
then again, I will say, well, no. How about you go first?
hmm. So I think it probably will be Zelda, but ooh, I don't know. I don't know. Spider-Man 2 with the stuff that the traversal stuff like the fast travel and everything
Mm,
and the like the symbiote abilities and you have Miles like upgraded Venom abilities.
mm,
I think that could be enough to win it over the edge because if you're thinking about it from like a combat point of view, Zelda's is pretty much Breath of the Wild. You know, you still have Flurry
mm,
Rush
yeah.
and
But
the
combines like puzzle solving or like the new mechanics with the combat so well. You know what I
yes,
mean?
yes, the rewind and the fact that you can solve any shrine however you want
Mm,
to. There's not like
exactly.
a strict path that you have to kind of figure out. You can solve it in the way you want to. That is kind of enough to also. It's gonna be close, I think.
Yeah.
And you have Resident Evil 4 here too, which has some of the best combat in a survival horror this year. And Alan Wake 2, which I haven't played, but yeah, I think I don't know. Star Wars is here too. If we're going, and they're all sequels. That's kind of funny, actually.
Mm,
That's, they're all kind of let's I mean like yeah, they all improve upon what the first game already did. So definitely gonna be a toss up.
yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Well,
that is everything we
wraps
have
up this
for
episode.
today.
Yes.
And it has been a lot of fun discussing all of these different topics with you, Mr. Tony.
Yes. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure as always, Nick.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Very
And thank
excited.
you so much for watching.
Yes.
Wonderful
Thank
viewers.
you,
That
viewers.
was episode 3.
That
And
is.
yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. Pleasure.
Yes. Have a good day. See ya.